What's up, guys? It's your boys Awoki, back at it with some more of the Chris Watts videos, of course. And we are going to look into, again, the Vivint security system. I was thinking about this for the past couple days. I did some research yesterday and today into the Vivint router and the Vivint security system and the router information, because it just doesn't make sense. He literally sat there and said that it wasn't working for the past 2 weeks. I think he was honestly messing with it purposely to make it look like, oh, it's not working or whatever. And that's how possibly NK got in. I can't say for 100% certainty that it's factual because they didn't look into it. But with the help of Zavgirl, we're going to look into this video of the Vivint and router information explained. Does it prove that NK was there that night? I think so. There's a lot of things we'll talk about after the video, but I want to see what she says first, and then we'll discuss afterwards. Before we go any further, if you could do me a solid favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting that wiper icon down the bottom right. Hit the bell icon next to it so I do post videos like this one, you guys will get that little ring notification that Zwolky myself has posted that video, and then you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, I'm so thankful for all of you guys. I can't give you the thanks I want to give to you guys, because over the course of how many years I've been doing YouTube, we're so close to getting to 100K. And I need your guys' help. So make sure you guys tell your friends, tell your family, or anybody you know, and hopefully one day we'll hit that 100K goal. Also go over to Zavgirl, depending on if you like her or not. I've heard the stories. I'm only here for her content, okay? When it comes to the Chris Watts videos. So just bear with me, okay? With that being said, let's get into the video.
So we all watched that video of, well, not all, but I'm assuming that a lot of you guys have, because I wouldn't have even have known about it if I didn't get a bunch of links in my comments on my video. So
me too. I
checked it out, and the video of basically claiming that it's foolproof that NK was there because of the Vivint and Router events. So, you know, I admit, when I first looked at it, I'm like, oh, wow, whoa, shoot. And it raised more doubt. And first of all, I just want to say that what I'm about to tell you has it's not about me not wanting NK there, because that's not, I want the truth. That's what I want. I want the truth. Me too. That's what I'm trying to find out. So if she was there, then she was there.
So there was a sensor. I can tell you where all the sensors are, because I've literally seen where all of them are by watching the body cam footages and stuff like that. So I can definitely tell you where the sensors are inside this home.
If she wasn't, she wasn't. But for some reason, the more I look and analyze and dig, it just keeps coming up. No, every time. At least with the research I'm doing is showing that I cannot prove that she is there yet. From any concrete evidence of anything I've looked at is just nothing. It doesn't, I have a little bit of doubt because of who, you know.
I can tell you this right now, there's no sensors on the second floor.
All her lies, I doubt it because of all the lies she's told. But as far as any proof or any...
And the reason why is I found, through doing some research and stuff like that, I found Chris Watts's Vivint plan. I don't know how I found it. It could be fake. I don't know. But I found it somehow, some way. I'm not going to say how I found it. Whatever, it was on Reddit. Again, could be fake, I don't know, but it tells me which room had a sensor in it. The basement had a sensor, the living room had a sensor, kitchen had a sensor, the garage had a sensor. I said basement, right? Yep, I said basement. And then there was one other room. What was it? Having a brain fart. I think it was the back hallway leading to it was the back hallway. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sensors.
Evidence, there is none. So this new thing that came out about the router info, you know, I was like, okay, this raises a little bit more doubt. But like a good detective that me and maybe we decided, you know what? Let's double check this because we don't, of course, I don't know this lady, so this is her work, but and she put this graph together, but I want to double check and make sure she's got all of her timings and all of her info correct. And if she does, then okay, wow, a little bit of doubt here. Let's look farther into it. But so I went back to my Weld County files, and it has all the router info. So here's the router information. So
okay, I just want to look at this. Okay, MAC address. I just want to look at it quick here. Just seeing if I can see any irregularities or irregulars. Sunday. A lot of stuff on Sunday. Different IP addresses. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 different IP addresses. So there's usually about 4 different devices.
Me and maybe kind of analyzed it and went through it all, and we found a few things. So I think you guys would be quite interested to see some of our findings. All right, let's get into it.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Like and subscribe if you want to.
So where to begin here? I think I'm going to start off by beginning with the biggest mistake. So that Vivint event that she mentioned in the video at 10:52. First of all, the time is wrong, and I'll show you here. It's actually at 8:52 that event takes place. So her whole theory on it being when Chris was talking to NK and he was putting in the code so he could go meet her. That
8:52. I'm trying to figure out who she's talking about. 8:52. So we're looking at, because their phone call started between 9:30 until 11. I'm trying to remember everything. Okay.
That throws that whole theory out the door because it's not even the right time. See, it's at 8:52. 20:52 is 8:52. 10:52 would be 22:52 in military time. So yeah, so she's off on that time, so it doesn't even line up with the phone call at all. And just make sure you see the IP addresses, they match. So that's what she is talking about, that she kind of got the wrong time. It's the same IP address that she was saying was for 10:52, as you could see, when it really happened at 8:52. Same IP address. She just got it a little mixed up there on the time. Okay, let me go back and show you at 10:52 Sunday where she said there was that Vivint event, and show you there's actually nothing at that time because it was 8:52. She just got them mixed up, flipped around, or somehow mixed up. But see, you see right there, August 12th, the Sunday, it would be 22:52 would be 10:52. You see, there's no events at that time because it's actually at 8:52, like I showed you. Okay, so all we have is 3 days of the router information, and all 3 days at the...
But there are times, though, if you shut the router off or unplug it, it doesn't register. So there were times that Chris was unplugging it because he was trying to fix it with Vivint. But there were times, too, that he was disconnecting it. I can't remember which one was it. He did say that he unplugged it because of the sensors that kept going off. I have to find that video.
Exact same time at 8:52. Remember, it's not 10:52, but at 8:52. Yeah, so at 8:52, that so-called Vivint Chris putting a code in because he was about to set the alarm or leave the house isn't random at all.
But the Vivint system also went off while Chris was gone, NK was gone. Like, it happened at noon. Where's that information? This is the router, but we need to look at the Vivint system that stated that the alarm and sensors were going off.
It happened 3 days in a row at 8:52. All 3 days.
I feel like if we can dive into this a little bit more, we will find a path.
The same exact code right there, all 3 days. And then another thing that happened, I think it must kind of go along. Something is syncing up. Okay, I'm pretty sure so I'm not the best with this technical kind of stuff and with the IP addresses and stuff, but me and Maybe really looked into it and we researched a lot. And then I even also asked my cousin, which is really good with this kind of stuff, and he said it's probably just an update, like a daily update or some kind of synchronization, because you'll see it synchronizes every day at the same time. So it could just be like a kind of an automatic update that happens every day. So it's not Chris putting a Vivint code in and leaving to meet NK. That's not what it is. Like I said, it wasn't even the correct time, let alone it's not.
Or it could be when, instead of an update, it's when they plug it back in. When your router is unplugged and you replug it in, it time syncs with the internet. So that could be him plugging it back in. I mean, it can be an update, but it could also be him plugging it back in.
Not random at all. It's a daily thing that happens. And then, not only that, it doesn't seem to be the Vivint IP address. And I'll show you.
But look, August 12th, 2018, right here, 2052:02, and then 2 seconds later, it does it again. What I'm thinking is happened is he plugged it back in, and then it did an update. That's just, because then you look down here, and there's more. There's a 2052:03. There's a 2052:05. Oh, that's the next day. But that's this next day. Maybe it is an update. Sunday, because at this time, it's updating at the same time. And
why here? You could go back and look, and you see the Vivint event that should have taken place when Shanann walked in the door with that Ring video footage. Right here in the discovery, it says it sends Chris a notification, Vivint notification. Now you go back and you look in her files, and she has Vivint, you see, and it's blank. It's blank because it's just something that she had added in because she knew that Shanann got home at 1:48, so she just put in 1:48 Vivint blank. There's no info.
But the Vivint security system and the router are two different entities. The Vivint system goes through the router, but the router doesn't go through the Vivint. Does that make sense? So I'm trying to think here how to best explain this. Let's watch a little bit more.
Shanann's entry into the house because there is no info on the router that she's going by. Because if it was, we would see that code at 1:48 when the Vivint.
So that means that the router had to be either off, unplugged. Yeah, one of those two things.
Know that the Vivint event occurred at 1:48 because we see it in Discovery. And she even has Vivint down there at 1:48, but you notice, where's that code at? If that's the Vivint, shouldn't it be the same code right there? It's because it's not in the router information. So I don't understand. Like, I feel like she should have known that knowing that there's no Vivint in the router at 1:48 when we know that Chris got that notification at 1:48 because Shanann got home. So right there is showing her that, and everybody else, that the Vivint isn't showing up in the router. It must be somewhere else that you have to find those notifications. It's pretty likely that that code is not the IP address for Vivint because of all the things we just discussed.
But like for mine, when I use my Blink system, I mean, it's not Vivint, but I have Blink as my security system. It goes wirelessly through to my router. But if you unplug the router, you don't get anything when it comes to the Blink cameras, the Blink system, the Blink sensors, whatever like that. So, but if you have them plugged in, the router recognizes those notifications, and then on my Blink system, I can see that. Again, it's two different systems, but shouldn't it be on the same level of path of being the same thing? Like,
it could be for any wireless device. I don't know for sure. I talked to my cousin, he's pretty good into computers and stuff, and also maybe did some research and found out about these IP addresses. I don't know why I keep saying codes. Sorry, these IP addresses and what they might be. So both of them, plus, what I read, we all kind of came to the same conclusion that it can be any wireless device. It could have been Vivint, I guess, but none of the other Vivint alerts and notifications and all that stuff show up here.
But that's the thing too, is with Blink, and I don't know if this is the same thing with Vivint. I probably should look into that part as well. But if you give somebody the password to your Blink, or Blink, or what was that one I had? I had another one. Was it ADT? I can't remember. But if you give up somebody the password and your username for the app, somebody can shut it off outside. They can shut it down and then go through the door. That's why they tell you don't give out your passwords, don't give out your information, because people can find that, shut it off, and then get access to your house. So what if, hypothetically, NK was outside of the window, shut it off, went inside, turned it back on? Just wondering. It's just things that I'm thinking about. I'm just wondering.
On the router. So there's a good chance that it's not the Vivint. So maybe it's his Mac, his laptop, I don't know. Who knows? It could be anything.
Well, he's got a laptop. He's got a work laptop. She had her tablet and phone. She also had a computer, I think I saw in the office. The kids, I do believe, had tablets because I saw them walking around with those like squishy covers that you put over the tablets to like make them a little bit less destructible. So those devices could be going off of that router for them, but it seems that I was looking at that list. It was about 4 or 5 devices in the past 2 days, from August 12th to August 13th. And if you thought about it too, Shanann's phone, Chris's phone, but what is the other 3 devices? Just saying.
There's so much technology these days. They probably had so many devices. You never know. We know it isn't Shanann's iPad.
I mean, a garage door fob that can be hooked up to your router to be wirelessly turn on your garage door, unless your garage door has the capabilities of being accessed through the garage door itself. They're coming up with all these new technologies now where everything is through your internet and stuff like that. And it's easy, but at the same time, it's crazy.
Because there's a code.
Okay, but you see them right here. They're wired. Oh, we got an Apple Watch, iPad, Apple TV. Unknown. Right there.
For that, we know the code for that because it shows you the code for that, all the codes. So we know it's not that stuff, but it could be any of the other devices. They probably had a lot of devices. I think they had a MacBook. Did Chris have an iPad? It could have been his laptop. It could have been anything like that. But the fact is what I'm showing you is, number one, that it's not the same time. Her timing is all off, so it doesn't go along with the phone call.
But if you see right here, it also says wireless intruders also show up here. So if anybody tries to connect to their router, it shows up.
Number two, it happened 3 days in a row at the same exact time, the same IP address, the same event, which is likely an update. It's not random at all. And number three, none of the other Vivint events or alerts are on this router information. So all three of those together kind of.
But Chris did call Vivint to change a lot of things when it came to the security code, the way that it was going throughout the home. He said he was fixing it or working on it because Shanann wanted it fixed. But Chris said he called them and was switching things up to make it work. What if he was messing it up on purpose?
Kind of ruin the chances that that was Chris putting in the code to go meet NK. Okay, so that's that. And then another thing I wanted to point out is, now this is a question because I could have overlooked this part, but as far as the codes that she has for Chris's phone and Shanann's phone, those aren't in the codes that from the files I have. It only gives you so many codes, and it doesn't have what Shanann's phone's code is and what Chris's phone's code is. So somehow she comes to the conclusion that this is Chris's IP address for his iPhone. That's the address this.
You would actually have to see the phone IP address in your about. When you go to the gear and the general information, down at the bottom where it shows the connections, it shows you your IP address. So that's how we would be able to find it out. But she's saying that the other person thinks that this is it, but it's not. We don't know.
It's coming on when his iPhone is connecting and doing things. So
it's an Apple product. So did he have an iPhone? Well, he had to have, because he had an iWatch. So it could be his phone. It could be also his watch.
So I don't know how she came to that or how she got that information. And then Shanann,
we don't even see her,
which that code doesn't even match up. That time, there's no code for that time. There's no event or nothing. There's nothing logged on for the time at 1:48, or she has an X, so it's around like when she comes in. So it was almost like she just assumed, oh, Shanann, this is her code for her IP address, and she would have got home around this time, so I'll just add it there, but it's not in the router information. I'm sorry, I probably annoyed some of you computer people by calling it a code, but I believe it's called an IP address. But that's besides the point. To me, it just looks like
when she says code, I'm thinking of the code that you put into the Vivint system in order to arm it or disarm it or whatever have you, to change settings.
But my point is I don't know. There's just wrong information, and like I said, the big reveal is all wrong. So
also, there was a speculation that the cameras in the girls' room were connected to the Vivint system. They were not. It was its own device. So that one camera, or those two cameras that were in the girls' room, was a complete separate company that they went with than the Vivint. Vivint was for like trying to make sure that people didn't come in the home, and the girls' cameras were in there so that they could watch them if they were probably at work, or Shanann was downstairs and they were upstairs taking a nap, or whatever have you.
Sorry guys, I know you want NK to be there so bad, and I'm not saying she wasn't there that morning. All I'm saying is that
router stuff just tells us when it was updated. Something was connected to it, but we don't know what. If we looked at NK's phone and seen on her phone if the IP addresses connected to that router, but did they do it? They didn't, because they stopped because Chris confessed.
Does not prove that she was there. There's two, I feel like
pinged.
The biggest reveal was that Vivint thing that she said, oh, this is Vivint, it's the code, so he put in the code because he was leaving, and it wasn't even the right time. Doesn't even
we need to also look at the Vivint logs to see who was turning it off, turning it on, turning it off, turning it on. I wasn't able to find, or how do I say this? I found, trying to think here. I found the Vivint thing, but I can't tell. I can see when it was turned on and turned off, but I can't see who did it because the code is the same. You get one code. It's not like you do, like a husband does one code, a wife does the other code, and then you can tell who it is. The code was put in, we just don't know who put the code in.
Coincide with the phone call. And another thing I wanted to say, whether that, we don't even know if that's Chris's IP address or not. We don't know. Maybe she does know that. I don't know. It doesn't show it in my files. It doesn't say it, so I don't.
See if you look right here on this corner that's over here, there's one sensor right there.
know if she knows. She's just guessing.
Let's see if we can see it.
I'm not sure. Maybe she does know. Maybe somehow she contacted somebody.
There's the Vivint system right there to arm it.
Okay, so I'll get to maybe.
And that actually has a sensor in itself.
Some of the possibilities of what that event is, of the login, where it shows Chris's IP address or supposed Chris's IP address right after the Vivint event that isn't right because it's not the right time, so that just needs to be taken out. But those other events there with the router and then Chris's phone, I'll give you my thoughts on that. But first of all, I just want to explain how I don't even know for sure if I trust that is Chris's cell phone's IP address. And here's why.
We need to verify it.
The problem I'm having and believing that is actually Chris's cell phone, that is the activity after the so-called Vivint on her graph.
It could be his watch.
It's not in the right spot. Okay, all I'm saying is I'm having trouble trusting the information if that really is Chris's cell phone, because the one that she has for Shanann's cell phone, the IP address she has for Shanann's cell phone, cannot be Shanann's cell phone unless somehow Shanann's cell phone mysteriously flew home before Shanann did Sunday night and made it there at 11:48. Okay. Maybe it took that flight that was canceled. Maybe they left the phones on. I'm just making a joke. But what I'm saying is it cannot be her Shanann's phone, because how was it connecting to the router at their house at 11:48 p.m. on that Sunday when Shanann wasn't home? And also, it was connecting at 12:14 p.m. So it's Monday afternoon. It was connecting to the house's router. So how is that possible when...
What if that's... Okay, hold on. What if this is Nicole at 12:14 because Chris was not home, Shanann wasn't home because she was already gone and unfortunately deceased. The night before, it could have been Nicole because Betty said that there was a truck coming and going and stuff like that. And then at 12:49, the sensor went off. Oh, I need to find out whose IP address this is.
It seemed like to all of us that...
So whose device was connecting to the router at 12:14 in the afternoon when nobody was home?
Shanann's phone was turned off that whole time.
Because it was pinged, or it was connected at that 11 o'clock at night, and then it was connected at 12 o'clock in the afternoon the next following day.
And whether Chris had it or not, I think he had, it was at the house, yeah, but didn't they have to turn it on? So wasn't it turned off? But I mean, the bigger mystery is the one at 11:48 p.m. on Sunday when Shanann was in Arizona. Her being wrong about that IP address makes me doubt if that's even Chris's phone's IP address. That could be anything, any IP address. How do we know it's not in the files?
But Chris wasn't there until after 1 o'clock. So somebody was able to connect to the router at 12:14. The Vivint system went off at 12:48. I'm going to have to look at this again. Oh, man.
So she just assumed because of maybe some of the activity and just said, okay, this must be Chris's. But she was wrong about Shanann's. So could she be wrong about Chris's? Yes. And even if this is really Chris's, it's still, to me, the theory.
It can't be Chris's because Chris wasn't there at 12:14 in the afternoon. Because that's when Nicole, because Nicole showed up at what time? What was it? I'm trying to remember my Rolodex of information. Because she left. It wouldn't be able to be Nicole Atkinson's phone because Nicole wasn't there the night before the murders. The only one that could be that phone would be NK's. I'm thinking in my head, guys, if you're like thinking I'm just staring out in oblivion, because it couldn't be NK's because NK or NA's because NA was gone with Shanann. It wasn't Shanann's because she wasn't home yet. It could be NK's.
Has holes in. I mean, the theory is no theory without that Vivint event that she supposedly. The Vivint event she said is, oh, that's the event and then the codes. I mean, if that doesn't exist because it's not even the right time, then everything else falls apart. But like I said, there's too many mistakes, and we don't even know if that's Chris's IP address. And then
I think
we
it might
see
be
her
NK's.
adding things in there she's adding things from what she would know by kind of the story and then the facts of the actual technology.
I wonder if they got NK's IP address off of her phone, because all you have to do is you go to, I'm not going to show you guys my IP address because then you'd be able to hack or get into my phone. You go down to management. So mine is under, okay, so it's under your about phone. So it shows your number, what your product name is, model number, serial number, hardware version, IMEI, your SIM card, and your IP stuff. Security. Diagnose data. Oh, there it is. So you go under your about phone at the bottom where it says status information. IP address is right there. So I can see mine. But did they check hers? I can't show you guys because I don't want you guys to see my stuff. But it's there.
The recordings, and she's adding them all together. So there's some things that are for sure things, and then there's some things that she's just adding and saying, oh, this is where this belongs. And I mean, you can't really do that. So let's just give her the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, that is Chris's phone's IP address. Well,
it's
just
not
because
Chris's.
Reconnected and connected doesn't mean that he left the house. Think about how many times your phone reconnects and connects from Wi-Fi. Mine does it all the time.
All the time.
And that doesn't necessarily, because I did talk to my...
But if Nicole showed up there, then it would connect. But if she was in the area the morning of the murders, she could have been not as close to the house to connect. I'd have to look at the whole log.
My computer guy, and he said that it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a Wi-Fi connection. It could be like a computer connection. Like he could have plugged and this was my theory, that if it is really Chris's phone and somehow she did know the IP address, then maybe he was on the phone with NK for an hour and 51 minutes and his phone was about to die. So maybe he was on the phone with NK. You talk for almost 2 hours, your phone is going to be low on charge, maybe it was about to die. And he turns on his computer, because maybe that router, the login right there, because we know it has nothing to do with the event above it. It's not Vivint, because it's not even the right time. So just take that 1052 out that says Vivint, because that's supposed to be at 852, so that doesn't even belong there. Okay, so here's another doubt that I'm having here. And I don't know for sure, because I'm not good with this computer stuff, so I can't say for sure. But from what the files that I have and the router information that she's getting this information from, those events where it says used for secure logins and unassigned, those two router events that she has at 11:04 and 11:15, I'm not sure where she's getting the information where it said one is used for secure logins and one is for unassigned, because in the router information doesn't say that. It just says those attacks, which if you look it up, and also my cousin said this too, that if you look that up, those are attacks. Like it could be like viruses attacking those. I mean, it doesn't seem to be what she was saying, but like I said, I don't know for sure, because I don't know enough about it to say 100% sure. But from the research I have done, those don't even appear to be the login situations that she has labeled there. I don't know where she got that information, because that information isn't in the files that you get from Weld County, unless if I overlook something. But the parts where it says that those events are used for secure logins and unassigned to private, as you can see, the router information you do get from Weld County, it doesn't say that's what that is. But let's just say that that is what that is, okay? Because I can't say for sure, because I'm not, this isn't my expertise, but let's just say those are secure logins. We already know it's not the Vivint. It has nothing to do with Vivint. At least that Vivint event is at the wrong time. But let's just say, let's go with the rest of the theory, and those are some kind of login. So maybe the one that starts at 11:04, maybe that's him turning on his laptop used for secure logins. He logs in, it boots up or whatever. And maybe when he gets off the phone with NK, his phone's about to die. It needs charged. He plugs it into his laptop, which I'm doing right now. You plug it into your laptop to charge it, and it connects to the router by connecting to the computer. Does that make sense? So maybe that was the connect or reconnect, that it connected to that, and then he got, he was on he wanted to look up something on his laptop or his MacBook or whatever he has. Maybe that's when he turned it on, when he was talking to her, because he knew he wanted to look up something. Or, like I said, he might not even have plugged in his phone. Maybe it just reconnected. It was just a coincidence that, I don't believe in coincidences either. But what I'm saying is, my phone reconnects and connects all the time. Maybe he got off with her, and I think maybe
still
it is
a lot of what ifs,
and somehow it reconnected somehow. But you guys understand what I'm saying? When you plug your phone into the computer and then it links, you could accept it. Like with iPhones, it'll say accept or deny. And most people just put accept. So maybe that was that connection that it made, that the router picked up. Even when you're plugged in to charge it, it does that. So, and most people just push allow. I guess my point on those events I just showed you is there's many explanations for it. There could be many explanations. Many reasons why that happened, why those events took place. So I don't have the answer to those. I'm just trying to show you that it doesn't necessarily mean the things she said, and plus pointing out some of the mistakes of the actual data and facts that were made. I think I covered everything I wanted to. And that's another thing. Whatever that was happening, if that was Chris's phone that she said
I don't
reconnected
think
and
it was
connected,
Chris's phone.
right there, those two things.
It was a different device.
If that is his IP address and that is his phone, well, it happened again at 102 and 111. So why, I don't understand why she was only mentioning the certain things that were going with her narrative of what she was trying to say. So how do you explain it happening all the other times? Is it because our technologies are randomly reconnecting?
You would need to see far advance, like the 11th, the 10th, the 9th, the 12th, or the 9th, the 8th, the 7th, the 6th. You would have to look at all of them, and or have seen when when Nicole was there on the days that she was there, when her phone pinged at the house, checked the router information to see if it was connected that way as a verification that it was her phone. But they would have to look at the IP address and look at her ping that she had when she was there. But did they? No.
And updating, and that could even have been an update, maybe after you got off the phone, update. I mean, it could be anything, but our technology is constantly doing that without us even having to do anything. So why didn't, the fact that she didn't mention all the other times that it happened, I don't understand. You got to look at all of it, and it happened a lot. So was he leaving his house a bunch, or does it make more sense that when you walk around your house, sometimes there's areas that that make it unconnect? When I go down the,
it depends on how far you are from the router. If I go to my garage, it'll disconnect from the router. My driveway, it will disconnect from the router. It's pretty much after my fence line where you're going to lose the connection there.
Basement, every time my phone goes off Wi-Fi and reconnects. So maybe you walk down the basement at the time. So yeah, maybe you just walk down the basement, walk back up, walk down and walk back up and reconnected.
But the router was in the basement. So what if it was getting disconnected because he was going upstairs? Possibly.
But if I were to guess, my guess is he turned on his laptop or he turned on a device and it was booting up and logged in and stuff. And like I said, my theory, maybe he plugged his phone into that device and it connected. Not sure 100% on that. We don't even know if that is Chris's phone, but she keeps saying, well, that means that he left. Okay, so we know that the 1052 thing doesn't belong there, but let's say we go with the rest of her theory at 11:04 and 11:15.
I think somebody showed up.
He's putting in the code for his door or whatever she meant. But then if he put in the code to leave and then he gets back at 11:20, why isn't there another code being put in to get back? It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. I'm going to leave it there for the moment when it comes to this Vivint system, because I feel like I thought I did a whole bunch of research, but I feel like I need to do more on this Vivint router situation. If you guys want to leave your comments below, I highly suggest you tell me your theories when it comes to the IP addresses, the phone connections, the router, the Vivint system. I feel like I need to do a part 2 on this. If you want a part 2 on this, comment below. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Zab Girl as well. We'll see you guys in the next video. Please take care, be safe. As always, keep nerding on, and we will see you guys in the next one.